Woo! What's good, Buck Nation? It's your rude boy, aka Sloppy Poppy, Juan Agudelo, and thanks for tuning in to Tough Bucs. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers I believe will be fantasy starters. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And for you real Tough Buck fans out there, click that bell icon so you get real-time notifications on when new videos drop. You can also check me out at bucsreport.com where you can access additional Buccaneers content. So with that, let's get this show popping, baby. So for you fantasy players out there that are sloppy and haven't drafted yet and are waiting until the very last day to draft, like myself, here are my picks of the Buccaneers who can be starters and have the most fantasy value. Mind you, there are a lot of mouths to feed in the offense, so choose wisely. Now let's start with the first round. Either Mike Evans or Chris Godwin will go off the boards in the first round of this year's draft. They're both top 10 receivers in the league who had tremendous numbers with Jameis Winston slinging the rock. Now that they have the GOAT throwing them the ball, I expect more of the same production from Evans and Godwin. Brady wants to get Godwin paid and make Mike Evans into a living legend. The Bucs are gonna attack and they're gonna attack often, but hopefully Bruce Arians doesn't push them too hard like he did last year, as both receivers went down with hamstring injuries and hurt fantasy players down the stretch. Both will likely either go late in the first round or early in the second round. Even at the ripe age of 43, big-time Tom Brady is still an elite quarterback. Yeah, there are a number of quarterbacks out there with higher fantasy value, but Brady's still a solid starter for fantasy players out there, especially when you consider the plethora of targets to choose from. Tom Brady went to Tampa because of many factors, but the most obvious reason was the weapons the Buccaneers had. People seem to think that Brady is like Drew Brees, a dink and dunk passer, but that's just not true. Brady has shown on video that he can still sling the ball down the field, and unlike the Patriots' inferior receiving core, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin will capitalize on those downfield throws. Analysts also point to his percentage slowly going down in recent years, but it's because he's a smart quarterback. If nothing is open, he'll just throw the ball away or take a sack. Anything to not turn the ball over. I project Brady to go anywhere between the 6th or 8th round. Mark my words, Ronald Jones is gonna have a breakout year in 2020. I say this because Bruce says this. Jones will carry the load in the running game while LaShawn McCoy, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Dario Ngumbawale fight for position. His rookie year was a dud under Dirk Cutter, but in his second season, his first with Bruce Arians, he took over the starting role from Peyton Barber. Rojo had a solid 2019 and has shown the ability to explode for big chunks of yards. He also worked hard during the offseason with his hands and has shown the coaching staff his improvement in the screen game, which is a great thing, especially when Tom Brady is your quarterback, because we all know he loves targeting his running backs. Ronald Jones can be a nice pickup and starter for a player who didn't grab running backs early in the draft. I project them to go anywhere between the 7th and 9th round. OJ Howard is gonna have a bounce back year in 2020. Some fans think he'll be an afterthought, especially when the Bucs added Rob Gronkowski to an already good tight end group. But I disagree. Yeah, OJ Howard did have a forgettable 2019 season, but he'll benefit the most with the addition of the GOAT and the Gronk. Brady has already developed a good rapport with OJ, coaching him up with Gronk and strictly calling him by his nickname, Juice. And similar to the running back position, Brady loves targeting his tight ends. I predict the Juice to have his best year as a Buccaneer this season, catching touchdowns instead of foul balls. Finding a solid tight end is tough in the fantasy game, and while I predict most people will snag Gronk before the Juice, OJ's still a solid starter or at the very least backup for fantasy owners. OJ will likely be picked around the 12th round. Now I know what you're thinking. Juan, what about Gronk? Well, Gronk came out of retirement and was brought to Tampa to bridge the gap between Tom Brady and the Buccaneers receiving core. If anything, Gronk will serve as a security blanket for Brady. He is a bona fide starting tight end for fantasy owners, and like I said before, he'll likely be drafted before OJ Howard. However, you do have to question his football fitness, especially since he's been away from the game for an entire year. But I think he'll do just fine. However, because of the depth of receivers in Tampa, the expectations for Gronk should be tempered. I do predict Gronk will be taken off the board in the 11th round. And those are the Bucs who will likely be starters and have the most fantasy value. Tough Bucs, let me know which player you picked up in your draft. Was there someone I missed on this list? Let me know by leaving a comment below. Like, subscribe, and as always, wash your hands and stay safe. So until next time, keep firing them cannons.